So, breathing styles, the main power system of the hit anime Demon Slayer that these incredible warriors use to, well, slay demons. If a Demon Slayer masters proper breathing technique, they can not only gain a massive boost to their physical abilities, they can also learn a breathing style. Various sword techniques under some kind of elemental banner, such as water breathing, a style known for its adaptability, or thunder breathing, renowned for the incredible burst of speed it gives. But here's the thing, and I'm sure you've heard this by now, but none of these elemental effects are real. Rengoku here isn't actually making fire when he swings that sword around, he's just playing make-believe. Now you could be forgiven for not knowing this. It's possible this just never occurred to you and you've never heard this before. After all, this is never actually said in the series, but is instead straight from the pen of the author herself in a volume extra page. The Demon Slayers are just so good at using swords that it makes anyone who sees them do it hallucinate. And this kinda raises the question as well as a ton of debate. Does Demon Slayer's power system suck? And I can kinda see where people come from with this. The big argument here is that magic does just exist in the world of Demon Slayer in the form of demon blood arts. So the Demon Slayers making water out of thin air isn't the biggest stretch of the imagination. The response to this usually goes along these lines. That's the point. The story is about human beings overcoming these incredibly powerful demons. Their regeneration makes them almost unkillable, and they have just straight up magic on top of that. A lot of people will argue that since the Demon Slayers are already doing stuff that is basically superhuman, then that idea really isn't executed that well. But I do think there's a big difference between Zenitsu making it look like there's lightning and Hantengu blasting people with actual lightning. Like, there is a big difference between early Superman, who is basically just a really strong, really fast person, and modern Superman, who can fly, shoot lasers from his eyes, freeze things, and literally see through objects. Okay, well maybe that's not a great example, but I hope you see my point. The powers that the demons have always feel like a step up from what the Demon Slayers can do, so their threat feels real. Making breathing styles all about great swordsmanship makes every encounter against the demons feel like a battle of skill overcoming sheer power and ferocity. In that way, I think it really works. I also like how creative it gets, allowing for different breathing styles to have a neat explanation for them. I like that thunder breathing is all about focusing everything into one's leg strength. I think it's really neat that insect breathing is all about stabbing techniques that focus on administering poison. It's just pretty cool that sound breathing works by using actual explosives along with regular sword slashes. It's a lot of stuff that lets each style stand out without having to involve actual magic. This all being said though, there are some problems that need to be addressed. Breathing styles are not perfect as a power system by any means. The real problem is that this idea of them not being real elements isn't consistent at all. When Zenitsu fights one of the spider demons, Tanjiro, who is far away, claims to have heard lightning. Rengoku and Tanjiro actually burn demons with their attacks, and that's without the bright red blade stuff. Now, some people have explained this away as friction caused by how fast they're moving, but the fact fans have to come up with an explanation is really weird. And also, that doesn't even make sense considering other Demon Slayers moving just as fast aren't doing the same thing. And even without those inconsistencies, there is just actual magic on the Demon Slayer's side. They have talking crows, and Tanjiro can literally smell what his opponents are going to do next. Not to mention, the Nichiren swords they use are also not just normal swords. They already change color in response to someone's skill level and breathing style. Because somehow it can just tell, I guess. But sure, making fire is just too much, right? Now I can totally get the thought process here. Like I said, it's a story about humans versus demons. Conceptually, nothing that the Demon Slayers have is too crazy. Even Tanjiro's great sense of smell is just an extension of what human beings already have. The problem is the execution. It's just so awkward. The writer tries to really toe the line between giving the Demon Slayers a fighting chance and just giving them actual superpowers, and it doesn't always work. The real problem isn't even that the elements aren't real, it's how we're told this. In a volume extra at the end of chapter chapter 146. That is in the final arc of the series. The anime hasn't even gotten to that point. It's like Gotoge, the series author, just kinda realized that she forgot to say something and stuck it in at the last moment. At the very least, it doesn't feel like she had a strong vision of what breathing styles are as a power system and kinda just wrote it as she went. But that does kinda beg the question, how much of an issue is that actually? Which brings up a different question, what is the point of a power system? Generally, in action series, the point is to allow for good fights, and that's especially the case here since breathing styles don't serve much of a purpose outside of combat. It's not like My Hero Academia where you'll see characters using their powers for mundane things, or like in One Piece, devil fruits are massively important to the lore of the series. Those are stories that can only be told with those power systems, whereas breathing styles do have some lore involved, but their main function is letting Gotoge draw really cool sword fights. And Demon Slayer does have great fights. Even in the manga, I really like the author's sense of choreography. And since the elements aren't actually real, it does make that choreography the core focus of the entire thing. If you want to push it even further, then using the elemental effects as a way to trace the movements of the sword, then it's actually a really clever stylistic choice to make that movement both clear and interesting. It makes the moment where Rengoku blocks Akaza's attack with a wall of fire into a moment where he swings his blade in a way that blocks them. Simple and effective communication through artwork. Not to mention it does just look cool. So back to the question at hand, does Demon Slayer's power system suck? Well, I definitely think that's a bit of an exaggeration. As far as power systems go, it does its job and it does it pretty well. I like watching the fights in Demon Slayer and that's what it's there for. The real issue comes when we consider the execution of those ideas. I genuinely believe that people would better accept the elements not being real if it was just explained in some way early on. But what we get feels like a really awkward last-minute thing to make sure we aren't getting the wrong idea, and for some things it does just make for blatant contradictions. So if you just hate that, then I can't blame you for that, you aren't wrong. But when you get down to it, I think breathing styles are just fine. There's some really cool ideas there, and I like the fights, especially the later stuff. But as a concept, it's clearly not thought out too well when you get down to the details, and that's a shame. But you know what? You just spent the last several minutes listening to me talk about it. So what do you think? Do you like breathing styles and don't really care about the criticisms, or do you just hate it completely? Let me know in the comments because I want to see different opinions. And while you're at it, feel free to like and subscribe, and if you really want to support the channel, become a member like these fantastic viewers right here. But most importantly, just have a good one and take care.